If you were to talk about Ghana this week, you would say Ghana this week has been a week of litigation, a week of legal issues, a week of, the law enforcement agencies doing one thing on the other, the EOCO, Economic and Organized Crimes Office, and the OSP in the news. Politicians have also been in the news. So what I'm doing on Face to Face today is to speak to someone who is both a politician and a legal person. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. You're welcome to Face to Face.
Curious about what's happening beyond your borders? Beyond Borders takes you there. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m., join Caleb Kuda as he explores the stories that shape our world, connecting you with Ghanaians in other cultures and seeing the world through their eyes.
So we've learned one thing: you leave your shoes outside. Wow.
Tuesdays,
yeah.
I won't go to Ghana dressed in a Lacoste.
As director of operations.
From international politics to the human stories that define nations, Beyond Borders brings you a fresh perspective of Ghanaians around the world, one conversation at a time. Beyond Borders with Caleb Kuda airs Wednesdays at 7 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV.
So my guest on Face to Face served as a member of Parliament for many years and decided to just go home and go and rest it. But he is a lawyer, and that one I'm told you cannot retire. So he continues to advocate for people and also defend people's rights. The Honorable Samuel Atta Akyea is my guest. You're welcome to Face to Face.
My joy as always.
How are you doing?
I'm very good.
I'm still reminding you that the last time you appeared in the Supreme Court, social media went awash with people celebrating you. They said when you're on your feet, your delivery is excellent. So I just wanted to report to you again, in case you didn't see.
It is very good. And I intend to maintain the standards, not to lower the standards.
Thank you. We'll talk about law, but before then, let's do politics. Since you left, have you missed the political space?
Not much, because it's like, in the realm called Ghana, being a member of Parliament for 4 terms, is very, very exacting.
20 years?
Yes. So for me, it is a welcome rest, and I'm enjoying it.
And served also as a minister and all of that.
Yeah.
Now we have a new government. What has been your assessment of Mahama so far? He has done 100 days and now he's gotten to his 5th month, I think. We have a parliament that is so imbalanced. And we have a president who won with a huge mandate. This is my first sit-down interview with you since the change of government. What do you make of what's happening at the national level in terms of our governance?
In the first instance, I believe that if you look at the political history of Ghana since 1957, President Mahama is the most blessed person ever. Because President Mahama is the first individual who's come back, and therefore he has the hindsight of a previous, presidency, and he's been sitting at the sidelines for 8 years, looking at all that President Akufo-Addo did. So my prayer, and that is my serious prayer, that he's now vintage. There's no dispute about it, and I expect him to succeed. And my prayer is that because of his huge experience and the grace of coming back, he should be the best person around. I think he's soldiering on. I hold a humble view that it's too even early in the day to make any serious assessment of, what he's done so far. My only problem that I have is that it seems to me that the nation is dragging on to, if you like, security thuggery. which I believe it should rein people in. I don't believe that the kind of matters that are in the space, which is poisoning the atmosphere, some kind of gangsterism, masquerading as investigation, should be part of his government. Because I hold the humble view that you can invite a man to appear before the investigative apparatus of the state without razzmatazz. I don't believe somebody should be handcuffed at the airport before he comes to EOCO. I don't believe anybody should be, connect by the street side before he goes to the CID headquarters. I don't believe anybody should come to a point of saying that, look, you stormed your house. And the kinds of goings on, because when you are supposed to respect due process, even in your work of investigation, there's a decency about due process. Mr. So-and-so, my name is Commissioner this. There are some matters before us that we believe you should come to your lawyer to NIB at 4 o'clock, and we'll be waiting for you. A phone call away should send every law-abiding Ghanaian to where they are investigating the matter. I don't see anybody who is so audacious to say, I'm not going to go to EOCO. I don't see anybody who is audacious enough to say, I won't go to NIB. I don't see anybody who is so audacious to say, I won't go to a police headquarters. But if we have a situation in which Ghanaians, they are ambushed, some people believe they should be disgraced and embarrassed, it doesn't sit well with
so for
the
you,
rule of
that's
law.
something you would want him to fix. But still on President Mahama, and the fact that he has seen this before, he's been on the touchlines for 8 years, he has a benefit of hindsight, and you've now even said his vintage. The refrain generally is that politicians don't learn. Do you think he has learned?
I think he must have learned something good. That is my humble view. Because it will be a tragedy if anybody should surmise that he's not learned anything. My view of the matter is that to whom much is given, much is also expected. All the experiences is had. In fact, an experience that Nkrumah never had. Nkrumah was never brought back. I am of the humble view that there are serious lessons he should have learned by now. He should know the power of flattery by now. People who surround a big man and they are always telling him lies. The tragedy of one-sided listening, where people who are supposed to be extremely intelligent won't practice the alternative rule, hear the other side. Where you have sycophants who praise you and increase your imperfections.
He should have grown above all of these.
Oh, he should, and he should see his enemies who are close quarters. Now, the people who surround him, and because of their very, very shady tactics, they bring his administration into disrepute. So I am of the view that the best grace Ghana has so far is President Mahama. And I believe that he should be given some good time for this, excuse me to say, serious experience and, if you like, wisdom.
So do you see that manifesting in his appointments? For instance, he has appointed generally younger people and made the older people board members who would supposed to be in charge of guidance or giving advice, and putting the young people there. Do you see that that's a manifestation of him learning from his past mistakes, perhaps, knowing that, listen, power has shifted, is a time for the young people? Do you get that sense? There's also a view that he should fire some people in his government. The Samiji Mfi matter came up because he gave money to somebody who begged him for money. Your party people are out there saying he should be fired. Last week, there was this whole brouhaha around appointing someone who allegedly is not a doctor, but claims to be a doctor on the board. Almost he has fired him, but do you see the radicalness in him now? Is he showing?
Well, it should show in concrete terms with the greatest of respect, but I am of the view that your appointee should have private success. If not, it can't have public success. That's my assessment of it. If you believe that you need young men who are malleable and pliable, so they won't enhance your wisdom level, it's a tragedy. Why would you want to shove all the big people with the experiences and the track record and say that, okay, I have all the young men. But I'm not saying that the young men are people of no consequence. But what is the motive? Are these young men people you can point that, look, in their private lives and private endeavors, they chalk some success. They have got a lot of experience. Or is it another way of saying that you owe this office to me, and therefore this is the way I control you?
No challenger.
No challenger. So I believe that these are some of the things you should look at, because a lot of people have been with the NDC for a long time and they are entitled to be there. Some of the MPs too are very good MPs. If you ask me, you know, people who are doing oversight and they saw that, oh, they were very strong in trying to checkmate activities of MPP, and therefore let's reward them with an office. But I am of the view, either way, the buck stops with him.
The issue of he running for a third term has been running around. We haven't heard him say anything directly about it, but people have been talking about it. You are a constitutional expert. In fact, the Constitution is lying by you now. What is your understanding of the law? Is he able to run again for a third term? Or if he has to, then he has to go through a constitutional process. Is that possible? Is that practical? Should that happen?
Well, the Constitution is clear in terms of what you mean by 2 terms. Although the word continuous term was never used. But what it actually means that if 2 terms is like an MP is, 4 years for a term, then by arithmetic alone, he can have a third term. But if he wants to have a third term and he wants to amend the Constitution, then that's a tall order. That is also a betrayal of a huge appetite for office. Can I amend the Constitution so I reward myself with a third term? That would be a very selfish undertaking.
But what about the view that, okay, I'm here for just 4 years, I can't do much. In fact, everybody's entitled to 8 years straight anyway. I got mine truncated, so if I have to start afresh and I'm now building the foundation, give me an extra 4 years. I deserve 8 years if I must leave any legacy at all. Or you think 4 years can do the magic?
I don't think it's longevity, it's performance. If you give somebody 30 years as a president, but he has a deficit of competence, then the years won't matter. Some people believe that, oh, the longer you are, the more efficient you become. I don't subscribe to that view. And also, you should bear in mind what is very important, that what he holds dear, that he says he wants to deliver to Ghana, he can always find men of like-mindedness to sort of deposit himself into them. Because we are people.
So a succession plan of a sort.
Oh, he needs it. And everybody who's not interested in the succession plan is a mess. All that he couldn't do, somebody should be able to continue. Somebody that he knows. After all, even when we are talking about Jesus Christ of Nazareth, how many years did he have in trying to roll out his program?
3 decades.
People talk about that. So if you believe that it's longevity which will make you consequential, I hold the humble view that it doesn't hold. The NDC has serious ideals, and ideals are not essentially fasting to human persons. So that those ideals, people who have character and people who believe in the vision of NDC should be able to roll out those ideals, whether President Mahama is there or he's not there. And that's very important.
In the next 4 years, are you hopeful, are you positive that Ghanaians would see some change and some good things happening? And if that fails, what's your view? What happens?
I have to say it, and I want to say it serious. I pray that President Mahama succeeds. Because right now, there is a kind of despondency that this political activity, the ping-pong between NDC and MPP, the dividends are not showing as people want. And therefore, if there is another government, and we don't see an incremental, an upward movement in terms of our well-being, and then people begin to question the integrity of this democratic arrangement. So therefore, it is imperative that President Mahama, and I've already said, he's even blessed more than President Nkrumah. People might get angry with me, but that's what I believe. Now, nobody has come back. He should rather send.
So he shouldn't take it for granted.
He shouldn't take it for granted. He should take it to another notch.
And leave something behind.
And leave something behind.
What about the parliamentary side, where you were for 20 years? What happened to your colleagues in there was a bloodbath. They are a micro-minority, that's how they've been described, even though they want to be referred to as a super minority. But speaking in terms of numbers, which is what Parliament really is, 88, that's almost insignificant because they are beating 1:2. That's huge. What do you think can happen in the House of Parliament generally, and also on your side, what can be done to checkmate this government? Can they do it? Is there a better way to do it?
Well, I'm being educated that when J.H. Mensah and his group were there, I mean, they were not too big in terms of the numbers, but the quality showed. I could tell you on top of my head that sometimes people look at the numbers, which is very good. It is for purpose of quorum and then maybe voting. But in terms of the deliberative activities of Parliament, half the time it's not the crowd. A few people who want to pay attention and use their talents to promote lawmaking and do good debates. If you go and look at the Hansard, you find some members of Parliament that for the whole of the 4 years, they didn't rise up to make one statement.
So that's shameful, isn't it?
To the core. Because then it's like you are warming the pew, as they say.
Unless they say that, well, they have other roles to play aside speaking. Can you say it in Parliament? Oh, for me, I don't talk, but there are other ways I deliver. Is that something you can say as an entity?
It will be shameful, because at the end of the day, plenary is when some of the serious issues are recorded for posterity.
But there's another view that oratory is not necessarily leadership. If you are a good orator, you stand in the well of the Parliament and you deliver the big English, someone else delivers at the committee level, so that person may be better than you.
Well, even when you deliver at the committee level, they'll bring you back to plenary
to defend.
So that the committee activity that you believe you are the Einstein on the committee, you need to come and dilate on it.
So if you deliver in committee and you are silent in the Parliament chamber, then you are really...
It's a challenge because what is it that is making you quiet over what you believe you give a very strong input? But what I'm saying is that all the political parties should have, they are representatives in the gallery watching, and then maybe a very powerful MBA students are looking at what the members of Parliament are doing.
It goes back to the issue of communication, maybe the language barrier. I don't know what the law in Parliament currently is. Can people speak in their native language when they are delivering?
Well, I think Speaker Baldwin was trying to experiment with people who can speak in their native language, yes. But I am of the view that if you want to go into that chamber and it's lawmaking, and the laws of Ghana are not written in Twi, but in English, then your passable English, you should have it. And I am of the view also that if you've not crossed that line, then what is your business being there? It will be difficult.
So prepare thyself.
Prepare thyself. It's not, as me say, the political space you want to go and occupy, but you want to do something that will count, that your name will be associated with something that benefited Ghana.
Are you hopeful of this Parliament?
Yeah, I am indeed.
You're hopeful.
Yeah, I am indeed. If only it's not bitter antagonism and adversarial nonsense. And that's what we should avoid.
Let's talk about outside Parliament. Your political party appears to be at a crossroads. I don't know if that's even a proper term to use, but there is a power vacuum now, and the feeling of which has become a subject of theatrics. And we've seen that in the Chairman Wontumi thing, where there's a view that they are outdoing each other. Who is a better mobilizer? Who is a better leader? And all of these things. Can your party survive this 4 years opposition without a leader, at least for now?
Well, we can survive, and it's all gotten to do with how sometimes it's competitive in terms of who should lead the party. Well, I thought, with the greatest of respect, that with history behind us, we should see that Dr. Bawumia went to a major fight, and we were not victorious. So until we elect a new flag bearer, or is continued, that symbol of leadership that he represents should be there. I am of the view that all other attempts to sort of rock the boat at this too early state, when we are trying to see how we come out of our pain and get the party healed for the next assignment, it's too early in the day for people to be rocking the boat. But we leave men to be men. You can't contain them. But essentially, I'm of the view that the best will always come out.
So rally around one person for now, or rally around the flag, or rally around what? People need something they can rally around, and I think that's what is happening now.
I thought we should have rallied around Dr. Bawumia. And if we went for primaries and we believe that he shouldn't continue, the delegates will speak. Understand? Because right now, as we are already saying, there's like, it's becoming a bit of divisive, as if some battle lines are already drawn. When the main assignment is to stabilize the party and see how it will be the countervailing force against the NDC. So, if you like, it's too early in the day for us to have this, appetite for power.
But it's happening, and the cracks.
I can see that.
Deepening.
I can see that the cracks are deepening strong. I mean, you are not wrong in trying to talk about even for a mere arrangement for bail and who give properties.
Yeah.
It's all kinds of situations. But I will tell you the truth. This party was torn into two before, UNC and PFP. But there is a spirit about this great party. I believe it's virtually like spiritual. Well, we have a party in which one of the giants was martyred, Dr. J.B. Dankwa. You know, Christianity is also founded on one man who was killed for the many. So in that sense, I see that no matter the ups and downs,
You would come back.
the glory of this party can never be eclipsed.
That's a prophecy by Samuel Atta Akyea. He's a man of God too. So if I say it's a prophecy, maybe I am right. He's a former member of Parliament for Abuakwa South. He's a lawyer. We've just been talking generally about national politics and party politics. When we come back, we'll talk about the law is a law. Please stay with us.
This June, the business wave is back and it's bigger than ever. The City Business Festival 2025 on City FM and Channel 1 TV, where it's all about business. This June, we will be celebrating Ghanaian businesses, re-examining our business modules and practices through our business fora, and sharing knowledge through our on-air business discussions. Make a business date with the on-air series every weekday at 9 a.m. on the City Breakfast Show on 97.3 City FM and 10 a.m. on Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 TV. From expert interviews to real-world insights to the tools you need to grow. Don't miss a single moment this June. It's the City Business Festival 2025, celebrating everything business. Only on City FM and Channel 1 TV. Your business, your future, your time is now. Stay tuned, stay inspired, and let's grow together. The City Business Festival 2025, celebrating everything business.
The City Business Festival 2025 is powered by 97.3 City FM and Channel 1 TV, and it's proudly sponsored by Absa Bank, MTN Business, and Zonda Tech Ghana Limited.
You're welcome back. This Face to Face on Channel 1 Television. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. My guest is Honorable Samuel Atta Akyea. Honorable, the leader of the Judiciary is a Chief Justice, right? Is that correct? Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo currently remains suspended while investigations into her conduct continues. It has been politicized again. I do know that you are an MPP member, and I do know that there's almost a divided debate between NDC and MPP, where NDC members want her to go, MPP people are saying it is no proper, it's an attack on the judiciary. I want to speak to you as a lawyer. What do you honestly make of the process ongoing so far?
Well, I wouldn't want to go into motives, and I wouldn't want to go into a pre-arrangement to oust her, even before President Mahama came. But what I want to say, which is that people should respect due process. So therefore, if we have before the Supreme Court of Ghana, which is the bastion of democracy, people do not know that as for the executive, they can misbehave, and the legislature can behave. But the sanity of the nation is the Supreme Court, where executive actions can be checkmated, and even laws can be interpreted to bring harmony in. So I was of the view that, oh, okay, if today somebody filed a process that I don't believe in the integrity of the committee which is about to investigate me, and therefore I want an injunction restraining them from, investigating me, with the greatest of respect. That injunction should be given space for articulation. So they filed the process today, and tomorrow the panel is looking at it. And the panel says that, oh, we are waiving service, and they give on-the-spot decisions. The optics will be clear that is the Supreme Court in an ambulance haste to see the back of this lady. It's all in the public space. So that is all that I want to say. As for men and what they would do, I leave it to them. But I thought the Supreme Court, having regard to the fact that there is a whole perception that this is a judicial coup d'etat, and that President Mahama is trying to find his own Chief Justice. True or false? I am of the view that it is not the motive of President Mahama or even the NDC, but it's the Supreme Court that should look at the matter clinically and not to give an impression that, oh, let's rush through this process. That is all that I want to say about what is going on. But and it is mine to be decided. Yeah.
There's a view too that we shouldn't pretend that the Supreme Court is not political, and that the Supreme Court in its very nature is political. All the members there are political appointees. So how dare you say that they are non-political, and that we are pretending, we are playing the ostrich when we say they are not political?
You see, you might be political, but when the issue before you is interpretation of the Constitution, then you owe allegiance to the Constitution. As for how people feel about MPP, they are the Supreme Court. They are in families. They are located in backgrounds. If you go and check in the backgrounds of some of the Supreme Court judges, you will see them that some of their fathers were political people. But my dear brother, you are not in the Supreme Court to go and write an MPP manifesto. You are not in the Supreme Court to go and write an NDC manifesto. You are not in the Supreme Court to give vent to political desires and outcomes. But when people bring issues which, touch on the Constitution, look at it critically. Now look, we owe allegiance to the Constitution of Ghana. My political feelings notwithstanding, this interpretation of the Constitution is what is right. That is all I can say. But every individual, including my daughter, who is 19 years old, is a political animal.
Man by nature.
Man by nature. They have proclivities. You can't stop it. But it will be very wrong when you want to import how you feel into bringing sanity and justice to bear on a matter. It will be it will be an aberration.
What about the view that what is happening now is just a matter of due process that is being followed? And so the committee is due process, the constitutional due process. The president referring the work to the committee is simple issue. Suspension is due process. The Supreme Court itself deciding on all the issues she brought before them is simply a matter of due process. In fact, the NDC people have taken a habit now of saying the law is a law, and this is attributable to the Chief Justice who is suspended. Would you hold a view that the law is the law in this current instance, or it is the law but tainted with some small politics?
Well, if they believe so, that we should respect the Constitution, and the Supreme Court should go by its rules. The Supreme Court has very serious rules. It is there, the authorities are bound that there's no matter of consequence which involve constitutional interpretation that the Attorney General should not be a necessary party, and they want to hear the Attorney General's view on the matter. If that is a rule of thumb, and this is what the authorities all converge on. What has changed for anybody to say, today we file the process, and tomorrow we get a date, and we waive service, we give on-the-spot decisions, and we defer the reasons for a later time? what is special about this case? Now, right now, as if this is an ambulance situation, let's try and get quick results. You see, so I'm not saying that, I mean, this is what, I mean, somebody's trying to get a Chief Justice through them. But what is happening is that the Supreme Court might be giving itself away that they will bend over backwards for an expedited, I mean, if you like, throwing away of this particular Chief Justice. And that is not good for, due process and the justice delivery system.
When should we see Atta Akyea Esquire become Atta Akyea, my lord, or his lordship?
Well, I don't have any ambition to sit as a judge, to be very honest.
You don't want to?
I don't believe, it's not in my heart to ever sit as a judge. But I have great and enormous respect for judges, the kind of job they do. But as I'm trying to urge on you now, I don't believe that there's a particular special arrangement which should taint the Supreme Court.
Okay, let's go to the court lower or the administrative. So EOCO has been in the news the whole of last week because of your party chairman in Ashanti region, Chairman Wontumi. From where you stand, and I'm not sure you are one of the lawyers in the party, in the issue.
No.
So there appears to even be a fight between lawyers from your fold, where Apia could be on the one side versus Gary Nemako on the other side. It's getting a bit messy. The EOCO says they are going through simple procedure. Are they going through simple procedure? Based on your knowledge, you have gotten bail for people so many times. EOCO says they've granted bail, but you have not been able to meet the condition. That's why they are keeping them, so they cannot be held to be wrong.
Yeah, I found that, position preposterous. You see, if you pay regard to the Constitution, Article 12, you realize that justice for a man is not with the EOCO, it's with the court. I've made that argument before. So they begin to talk about you going to vary the terms or review the terms. But I've made an argument that you can't vary anything. When they bring a matter of bail to the court, it's a fresh matter. It is at the discretion of the court. So now let me give you a scenario which should show you that they can weaponize, this issue of bail and punish the innocent, who the Constitution actually says at that threshold, he's innocent and to prove him guilty. So I'm investigating a case against you. By my lenses, the case is worth $1 billion. If you got the dubious investigator, they'll craft all these things. And then go and bring me the White House as security for your bail. The man is unable to do it. If you pay regard to the Constitution, the terms might be onerous. And if the person cannot, meet the bail terms, the provision of the Constitution is clear that in that event, you owe it to this Constitution and the integrity of your institution to bring him before a court of law. And if you permit me, I want to quote this.
So you're going to 12, right?
Yes, 12.
Okay.
No, 14. Let me remember, it's 14, 3.
Okay.
You see, a person who is arrested, restricted, or detained for the purpose of bringing him before a court in execution of an order of a court, or upon a reasonable suspicion of having committed or being about to commit a criminal offense under the laws of Ghana, who is not released, emphasis applied, shall be brought before a court within 48 hours after the arrest, restriction and detention. And then 4 is what is very significant. Where a person arrested, restricted, or detained under paragraphs A or B of clause 3 of this article is not tried within a reasonable time, then without prejudice to any further procedure may be brought against him, shall be released either unconditionally or upon reasonable conditions. I want to stress this, including, in particular, conditions reasonably necessary to ensure that he appears at a later date for trial or for proceedings preliminary to trial. So therefore, it behoves EOCO to send the person immediately to the court after the 48 hours.
Or release the person.
Or release the person.
But with conditions.
Not with conditions.
Well, it says that.
No.
Conditions reasonably necessary.
That is what the court does. You see? Because if you read it and you don't pay attention to, you see, it said, shall be brought before a court So 3 is connected to 4.
Yes, but shall be brought before a court or released?
Yes.
But
so
here
the
in the
person
case-
should be the person should be released unconditionally, not with terms. Because if you don't release him unconditionally, then you flout the 48-hour rule. But because you need the person and it's approaching 48 hours, and your onerous terms are not met by, the suspect, you owe it to the Constitution and integrity of your office to send the person to court. And then also, my dear brother,
Yes.
you see, it is not what you say which gives liberty to the individual. So if you say that give me properties worth $8 million in Accra, Ghana, and the person is not able to meet it, that is why you have to go to the court of competent jurisdiction. There is only reasonable terms.
But is that the duty of the arresting officer or the duty of the person seeking his liberties? He should go to court and say to the court, listen, and that's why you have habeas corpus and all of those things. Say to the court that, listen, I'm being held without my will. I have neither been brought before a court or made to go home. This is the onerous task they've put on me. I cannot meet it. I have liberties. Please ensure that my liberties are respected. Should that not be what the person detained be doing? Should it rather be the EOCO? EOCO's duty is arrest the person. If you want him to go home, let someone stand surety for them. To the extent that you do not have someone standing surety, he should not go.
EOCO should take you to court. Because if you pay regard to the
they're
law,
not ready to go to court.
Yes, then that is bad faith. And if you read further, for unlawful detention, which is the clause 5, a person who is unlawfully arrested, restricted, or detained by any person shall be entitled to compensation from the other. People don't want to test it. And if you read all the multi-people authorities, they go to show that is EOCO a law-establishing entity? So is EOCO a law-abiding entity? Why would EOCO not take a man to court? Why? What to prevent, or you enjoy the detention of another man?
What if they are not done assembling their facts?
Yes, that is why you have to move a court of law that by reason of where I am, and I'm very, very positive that this individual will interfere with the process, would you want to grant me further time
To restrain him.
to restrain the person, so that then the court said, okay, the 48-hour rule, you've complied with it, but it is imperative by the nature of the case and the way you've persuaded me, I will enlarge time. I'll give you 7 more days to see whether you'll be able to do what you want to do.
But this case is an interesting one, isn't it? So that in the future, how do we deal with bail that has been granted by the police station or granted by EOCO? In the future, how do we deal with bail that has been granted by the police station or granted by EOCO or granted by... That to the extent that the person is not able to meet the terms, you must always go to court. Is that what you're thinking? Is that henceforth all bails must be taken to the court?
It's not my thinking, it's what the Constitution says. That the arresting entity after 48 hours should bring the person to court. That's what the Constitution says. Therefore, if you believe that, let me play, if you like, the wicked game and say that, look, I have granted you bail, the terms are burdensome and onerous, you are not able to meet the terms, I'm the captor. Be here.
Until you...
Until you meet the terms, you are making nonsense of the Constitution.
That's your view.
That is what the Constitution actually says. And in practicality, I don't see any law-abiding investigation authority that will indulge in detaining people who the Constitution otherwise say they are innocent.
What about how your lawyers then handled it? The lawyers from your party who appears to be coming with conflicting views and engaging in media warfare, quote and unquote, your director of legal and your former colleague in Parliament. I'm not sure you've seen what has happened, but it sounds ugly. While the person is languishing in custody, they are engaging in media warfare.
I regret every incident in relation to maybe the prosecution of this matter and trying to secure bail for Chairman Wontumi. But I will not sit here and pass judgment on what is going on. But I could tell you one thing, which is for a fact, that we should not celebrate any investigating body that will say that, look, your freedom is on my terms. This is what it means. The freedom of the individual should not be determined by the arresting entity. it should be determined by the court. So that if you even believe that, you need more time, you should go to the court and convince the court about it. But as for lawyers and their strategies, I'll always leave it to them, because now I'm understanding what is going on, the practicality of when your client is arrested and what can be done, the whole issue of tit for tat, the whole issue of let's show him where power lies, the whole issue of somebody being excited that, look, I might even disgrace you in the public space before I start investigating you. Your recourse is the court. As quickly as possible, get to the court and see whether the court will give you reasonable conditions that will ensure that you appear before the investigating body, or reasonable conditions that will ensure that you come and face a trial.
How can we depoliticize the prosecutions in this country?
Well, if people want to respect the law, if prosecutors or even the office of the Attorney General, which is supposed to be the highest, constitutionally guaranteed office, you have a principal legal advisor to the president. If those people who are entrusted with these sacred duties are not law-abiding, but they themselves are traducers of the law, we are worse off for it. So it's not for want of good laws of this country, but the way the practitioners want to behave, which is the main issue. So maybe we need more education. They should depoliticize an arrest of an individual. My dear brother, because everybody can be the subject matter of arrest.
Politicization could include the fact that your former colleagues in Parliament marched on the EOCO and went to sit in front of the place. There's a view that that's also part of politicizing.
Well, my view is that sometimes they call it protest of conscience, where somebody's, I'm on a hunger strike because of a process that we're going through. I wouldn't fault them for doing what they did. But I'm of the view that where is Wuntumi running away to? If you pay regard to all the serious political people who are arraigned before a court of law, Collins Dada, even Atta Akyea, they went on self-recognizance bail. Go and check. At the last regime, they were on self-recognizance bail. So where is a politically exposed person running away to?
You do not think that the rules that apply to surety should apply to politicians or politically exposed persons?
The rules should apply, but they should not be weaponized to keep them incarcerated. And sometimes, too, the respect is so intact that, look, this gentleman should be on self-recognizance.
You should remember that as we speak, there's a lady who has been convicted here and sentenced. Which lady is a politically exposed person? Which lady is not in the territory of Ghana and has still not returned even after her conviction? So if we're to trust that because the people are politically exposed, they may not go anywhere, we may be fooled, because this lady's case will be an instant.
Well, I don't know about who this lady is.
I'm talking about the former Maslock boss.
Well,
she has been convicted by a court in Ghana. She's still not back home.
There's a way to bring her here. If the system is interested in bringing her here, that's the cheapest way to bring the person down. But I'm saying that who is this political person who believes, in fact, the ilk of some of these political individuals, who believe that you should be pursued all over the world? It's a bit of crazy behavior that now you abscond the jurisdiction and you go in where?
America.
You'll be extradited.
We'll talk about that because there's somebody else who, according to the OSP, may be in America or in South Africa or the Canaan Islands, whom he's looking for desperately. It's someone you know. When you were a minister, he was in charge of the national pest. We'll talk about that. This is Face to Face on Channel 1 Television. I'm referring to Ken Ofori-Atta. We'll talk about him when we come back and the OSP's latest announcement on him. Please stay.
In a world filled with challenges, we all need guidance, hope, and a lifeline to anchor us.
This is Lifeline, and I'm your host, Fred Crunchy Mensa.
From social issues, relationship challenges, and family matters, Lifeline is here to inspire, uplift, and guide you on your journey.
Where we give you support, where we hold your hand through the valley and through the thick and thins of life.
Join Bishop Fred Crunchy Mensa.
I welcome you especially to Lifeline.
Every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on Channel 1 TV. Let's walk this path together, strengthen our faith, our families, and our lives. Lifeline, because every soul deserves a guiding light. Tune in to Lifeline on Channel 1 TV and let's grow together.
Welcome back. This is Face to Face on Channel 1 Television. My guest is Honorable Samuel Atta Akyea. Before I ask you about Ken Ofori-Atta, let me talk to you about your own client, Mr. Edubuahin. How is that coming in court? The last time it appeared that you were going to do a plea bargain. That was the sense we got when we sat in the courtroom and watched the deputy AG speak and heard the judge advise your client against doing anything until all the information is provided to him. Are you working on a plea bargain?
No, I don't know whose invention that is. Because at the end of the day, the one who is prosecuting you has not laid bare, if you like, that incriminating evidence which will filter through the witness statements, and then you know that by reason of what is staring at you in the face, you better go and a plea bargain with the attorney general.
You don't even know what the issue against you now is?
No. Seriously speaking, the content and the raw material for the prosecution will filter through the witness statements. They were supposed to have filed it yesterday, which is the 2nd of June, and they didn't file it. I don't know whether they'll file it today. And then you look at it. So whoever is pushing for plea bargaining, I don't know, but this is not coming from. So
officially, as the lawyer representing him, the necessary witness statements have not been filed.
They've not been filed.
You've not seen them.
I've not seen them.
And based on that, that's when you would advise your client on whether or not they should go the plea bargaining route.
In fact, that is sensible to do, because when you weigh what has been filed, and you think that you look at what is told you and the defense, and you realize that, look, ain't no use, let me throw in the towel. That's another matter. But that is not what we are planning at all. We don't plan to plea bargain.
There's a view that you are trying to threaten the nation by saying that your client will spill the national security beans if the prosecution continues, and that you are holding the government by its very, very sensitive area. What's your view on that? What's your reaction?
Far from that. I tell you something which you need to know. There's no way that anybody can deploy my talents to embarrass President Mahama. Not for all the gold in the world. But what is very obvious, but people are refusing to see, that some people want to put national security on trial. And it's going to show very soon. You have to see, because at the end of the day, what you are seeing is not an ordinary criminal matter. It's a national security couple, the one in charge of the Signals Bureau, and what they might want to call operational matters that we want to bring in the public domain.
So that should be prevented.
Oh, in fact, I mean, the sanity...
Where lies transparency then?
Well, you see, transparency is clear insofar as you will not endanger national security. If you like, pay regard to even, I mean, the freedom of people, you see, they are also checkmated when it is in the national security interest to do certain things. So national security is very important for the harmony of the state. So where we have to be transparent, the law makes it clear. Why are you saying that, oh, when it comes to Chief Justice, the trial should be in camera? Yeah. Why is that so? So all these considerations are there. It's not a petty matter that you believe that, oh, let's wash some matters into the public space. So that's what it is.
So it's your argument that everything that has been brought against your client, whatever he may or may have not have done, he did it under the guise of national security, and that should be dealt with at that level, and not for him to be personally held liable.
You are right.
I
don't want to even talk about the guys. That is a reality.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The so-called gadget that is at the center of this. I mean, it's come out clearly that the gadget is being used.
By the states.
By the state.
So it's not for his personal use.
Not at all.
And the money that was seen in private accounts, that can also be explained that was a national security issue?
Of course. The kinds of things that you know about the operations of national security. We cannot sit in this space and begin to discuss it.
Let's discuss other things that are out there in the public space, which include the health records of your family member, former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. The OSP called a press conference yesterday and said that he has relisted him on the wanted list, has issued a red notice for him to be arrested and possibly repatriated, brought back to the country to face trial, and that he's running away from justice, a fugitive of justice, and that he has cancer and all of those things. What do you make of the public, again, gallery discussions around a suspect?
You know, I come from a palace, you know.
Yeah, you nearly became a chief,
Yes.
and you refused.
And when a king is, sworn in as a king, you know, he swears by a very powerful oath, and then he gives space. That is to say, all that I've committed myself to, I can't perform it when I'm sick. So therefore, I was expecting Kisi, the OSP,
the special
prosecutor, to probably, if he doubts the bona fides and the health of Ken Ofori-Atta, to, if he's too big to go and do the job, himself or one other, to fly all the way to see the gentleman and then take the statement from there.
He responded yesterday. He said that they cannot waste their resources doing that, and a suspect cannot dictate how and where they should be questioned.
No. There is some understanding that the suspect is not well, not by malaria, but by a very debilitating thing like cancer. It doesn't minister to him at all. You see,
because there are people who have worse issues, but they still walk to the police stations and report themselves.
Why don't you? I learned some investigations have been done outside Ghana by him before. He flew out to go and do investigations. Why doesn't you do the same? That, look, you are here, and I want to check out whether we can communicate. Your mental faculties are working. I'll take a statement here.
Does our criminal jurisprudence dictate that when you are prosecuting a suspect, you go to his house or he comes to the police station or wherever you are to be questioned?
If a suspect is not well and painfully unwell and is scheduled for an operation, my dear brother, there is a common humanity that should come to play here. I'm not saying that Ken Ofori-Atta is immune from being investigated and prosecuted. But what I'm hearing, if it's anything to go by, don't say you are wasting your resources to go and do what to you matters to the state. Because you believe that the brief you are having and dossier you are having is so weighty. How would you be wasting your resources to go and find out the truth about what is happening? Probably tell somebody, look, we're about to take your statement. And then on the basis of what is going on, and you can say that, oh, I need not, try this guy in absentia because he's painfully unwell. What prevents him from doing that?
He has given a chronology of events, and he said it can only come to one conclusion, that Ken Ofori-Atta is a fugitive to justice. He does not want to be tried, and that he gave him so much time and he still failed to show up.
Well,
he gave excuses and reneged on those excuses, and that he's acting in bad faith.
Let me tell you that when you are sick, you understand, your sickness might not give you time.
But your lawyers can.
Listen, because you need the person to get involved with what you are doing. So time will be suspended if a man is not well. What are you talking about time that a man is on the verge of being operated upon?
He said the man used the operation as an excuse several months ago.
How can that be an excuse?
He said he gave him so much room. And 6 days to the next date, he shows up with a letter saying, I didn't do the surgery, I'm not going to do it. He finds that a bit...
You can always ascertain from the sources that whether this man is feigning illness or somebody trying to delay the work that you are doing. You can always ascertain. You can find out for yourself. You understand? Because if you are not careful, understand, then you are giving yourself away that, oh, this is a major case you have to, prosecute if the man is dead or alive. Because what you've done, with the greatest of respect to you and what is happening, what you've done is that immediately you are attacked that you are running away from justice. Internationally, you are defamed. In material particular, I hear somebody who might have committed some crimes and they want to investigate him, and he's in a foreign jurisdiction hiding over there. So that red alert, which will involve he being brought into the realm for trial and the rest of it, they are very, very weighty and they are far-reaching for the suspect who are trying to investigate. But I hold the view that has there been moments when investigators left their jurisdiction to go and ascertain things for them? I believe here is one. So that at the end of the day, it will even be clearer that, oh, indeed, we engage the doctors, the people who are looking after the man, and they are saying that it's a hoax.
Other people who are interested in seeing the prosecution as saying he's treating Ken Ofori-Atta with kid gloves.
How can that be?
He's giving too much room.
No. The people they prosecute, have they gone through cancer challenges? Please, let's have some. Every man should have a modicum of a human touch. I'm telling you, look at common jaundice or malaria. You can't even do this interview properly. So what they are talking about is a very serious malady. And I'm of the humble view that they should look at it from the perspective that if the man is even feigning that, he's unwell, it can be found out.
Now that the red notice has been issued, he said he's working towards extradition and all of that. What can Ken do, or what should Ken do?
Well, I believe that Ken should take care of his health.
Primarily.
That is critical, you understand? And he should look after his health very well. As for these matters of extradition...
But he may be bundled up and brought home.
Well, it's a legal fight, no, my dear brother. You are a lawyer, too. You are coming as strong as a lawyer. It's not easy to just go and pick somebody from another jurisdiction and haul him into Ghana. The laws are there. See, but I believe that we don't need a legal fight. Because the centrality of what they are discussing that is a man so unwell that we should give him space to treat himself and come back.
Give him the space.
Give him the space.
Even if it takes eternity.
It will never take an eternity because they will bring closure to his state of affairs. Even the doctors will certify that, oh, this is a recoverable matter. And therefore, you have the space now to go and prosecute him. Or, I don't want to say more than that.
Very well.
So, it is unfortunate. Because at the end of the day, I'm tempted to believe that there will be no good reason for Ken to bring himself to this point of international exposure and bring his name into ignominy. I don't believe that. I don't believe Ken could, hide behind a false disease or malady for him to be disgraced in such a manner. So I'm tempted.
So it must be true. So you're tempted to believe Ken more than you believe the OSP.
I've had certain things that I don't want to say.
Okay.
Because I'm in close quarters. This is not a feigned situation.
It's real.
And if anybody believes that he's full of the milk of human kindness, you should go there. Where he is, they know where he is, physically. In fact,
he said he doesn't know. He could be in South Africa, he could be anywhere else.
He's supposed to be the foremost investigator. So if you like, your best criminal is hiding in foreign climes and you don't know, a mismatch to be desired. But now you've ring-fenced his geographical location. You are even seeing who visit him and the rest of it. We know what they do. This, undercover investigation they do. He knows even probably what he eats in the morning.
Could it be a family fight then?
Well, I have a lot of respect for Kisi Ajabin, you know. He trained under me for 5 years, and I respect him. Okay. But I'm saying that we should be careful.
Is that how you trained him to be?
Now he's a very big man. So he's left the tutelage of legal work, and he's standing strong. You know, a very formidable lecturer at law and the rest of it.
Why are you washing your hands off your pupil?
Well, I believe that what is happening has serious ramifications.
You do not agree with what he's doing?
I don't agree with what he's doing at all.
If he were still your pupil, you would call and say,
I would advise him that Ken Ofori-Atta's return to the realm should be given deeper consideration.
And this is without prejudice to the fact that you and Ken Ofori-Atta share blood?
It's without prejudice. For any human being, my dear brother and friend, who is not well, that was my premise. If a man is not well, and it's not the cold, but as we are hearing, cancer-related, it will be very, very unfortunate to brush aside the state of being of the man, and in the name of criminal prosecutions, begin to throw his name in the whole world that this man is a fugitive from justice. I believe a least much to be desired.
Honorable Samuel Atta Akyea, thank you so much for speaking to us.
I'm grateful for the space you've given me, and I'm always excited to be talking to you because of the level of your wisdom.
I'm honored, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. This has been Face to Face on Channel 1 Television. Thank you for watching us.